Hello, everybody. Welcome back to LettermenRow.com. This is Bermanology. I am Jeremy Birmingham. Today, I am joined by one of Ohio State's top targets in the class of 2023, five-star, in my opinion, wide receiver Carnell Tate from the IMG Academy by way of Marist High School in Chicago, Illinois. Carnell has been one of the top targets for Ohio State in the class since Brian Hartline had him on campus this past summer for a couple different recruiting camps. And I wanted to talk to him about that, his relationship with Hartline, where he sees his recruitment going from here. Let's get Carnell Tate on the show, and let's get to it. As promised, Carnell Tate has joined us on the show. Second time on the show, Carnell, for you. And since the last time you were on Bermanology with us here at Lettermen Row, seems like your recruitment has sort of taken a lot of weird winding paths. I mean, you had a moment where you were like, I'm committing October 8th. I know what I'm doing. Decided, hey, maybe I want to take some more visits. You've done that. You went to Ohio State twice. You've been to Notre Dame again twice. I think there's an upcoming visit to Tennessee that's on the docket. Like, let's just start with that. What was it that made you ultimately say, hey, maybe I still need a little bit of time?
It was me that like the October 8th deadline that I was hoping for. I was still going in hesitant, like not know what school I wanted. So I didn't have a school on my heart, and I was still indecisive. So I was like, it's best for me to push things back so there won't be any decommitments.
Now, I guess that's the question a lot of people have, and this is sort of the issue when you have no bad choices, right? How do you ever get to a point where you know that a school is it? You know, because I mean, you've been to Ohio State 4 times in the last 4 months. You've been to Notre Dame that many times. How does it ever come to a day where you wake up and go, okay, now I'm completely over that one and this is it?
So with me, like, I know, like, when the time comes, I set my day for commitment. I'll like turn my phone off for a week. And then from that week, it depends on like what school I wake up on my mind. And then that's my heart telling me to go there.
No, I think that people look at your recruitment as a 2-team race, but it's not. I mean, we can realistically say Ohio State and Notre Dame is probably the top 2. I don't think you'll argue that. But, you know, when you look at the rest of the schools you're still considering, who are still on that list of places you're like, okay, I got to get to this place before I can feel comfortable making a decision?
Oh, definitely Tennessee, which I'm taking this weekend. And then Illinois, which I'm able to drive up this week before I go back to Florida. Then Penn State, too.
You know, I think people look at those schools. Penn State is a little different than Tennessee and Illinois, which are kind of in rebuilding modes. New coaches in their first years. What is it that you've seen out of your home state Illinois team, for example, with Brett Bielema, that's made you think, hey, I need to give them a real look?
I see Brett Bielema, he's winning big games. And then I know that he can win even more games and be more incredible as a team with his own recruiting class. So like he hasn't had a recruiting class yet. So I know that with the recruiting class he's bringing in, I know he's looking to turn the program away and be consistent in their winning.
You know, Illinois is not a state where a lot of people link it as like you have Illinois pride for football, right? I mean, kids in Ohio, it's like if you're from Ohio and you have an Ohio State offer, you're pretty much going to Ohio State. If you're from Georgia and Georgia offers, you're pretty much going to Georgia. Does it matter to you as an Illinois kid, like to say, hey, maybe I could change this? Or maybe is that something that Brett Bielema and his staff are trying to change in Illinois?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Like with Illinois, the prior coaches started to have a strong relationship with the athletes from Illinois and Chicago. And they're trying to make up for that ground by talking to us, building more relationship with us. And then they also tell me, like, I can change the game around with the Chicago and Illinois connection. That I can be the first and start the way for the upcoming classes.
You know, after your Penn State game visit, when you came to Ohio State the night before Halloween, we talked and you're talking about changing the game and not being the first, because at Ohio State, there's this idea that as a wide receiver, you're just one of many, right? But as you watch the Buckeyes twice in the last 4 weeks in person, does it matter when every receiver, like the top 3 receivers, are getting 10 catches a game?
It doesn't matter. Like you can see, like now, like they still have projected 2 first-round picks right now, and then next year, hopefully Jackson go first round. So like it doesn't really how much target you get, as long as they're ready for the next level. Then you can see like with Terry McLaurin, like he didn't catch like 15, 20 balls a game, and he's still dominating at the next level. So I don't think like that many targets count. Doesn't matter as long as you're producing what the targets you're getting and making plays.
I think Terry's career high for a season at Ohio State was like 34 catches, which people look at it and say, okay, how does that translate to the NFL? But as you said, you're looking for development of the whole game. I don't know if you're one of these kids that when you're on a school visit, if you're on a campus visit, are you watching just your position group during the game? Are you watching what the receivers are doing every play? Are you watching the game in total? Are you watching Brian Hartline on the sideline? Like, where's your focus when you're in the crowd watching the game?
I mean, my primarily focus is like the receivers and Brian Hartline himself, but I also tend to watch the other coaches because I know that I won't only be coached by Coach Hartline. I'll be coached by any other coach, like if wherever I go. So yeah, paying attention to my position group is important, but also paying attention to the environment is more important.
As you break down this decision and whenever it comes, you are in a position where Brian Hartline is sort of regarded as the best receivers coach in the country. I think a lot of people would say that right now. He's certainly recruiting at a high level. What does it mean to you that, like, it's pretty clear, Carnell, that you're like his guy in the class of 2023? Does that elevate the way you view Ohio State in some way? Does that make you more interested, knowing that, like, I don't think there's any real desire on their part to recruit anyone else until you make a decision?
It definitely makes me feel like I'm wanted, but it doesn't like plan out. It isn't like too big on mine because I try to keep my options open and not let that play a factor in my recruitment. So yeah.
How glad were you to have a normal season this past year with IMG? I know your season just ended last weekend, but you got an opportunity to travel around the country and go to play big games. College coaches got to come see you on the sidelines. Like, how neat was that for you after what you experienced, your sophomore year at Marist?
It was great showcasing my talent, being able to show I could dominate with a higher level competition. So it was great getting back there on the field because I didn't have my sophomore year. So it meant a lot to me being able to play a season.
Well, with IMG, obviously that's a big decision. We talked, the first time you were on the show, and that's really when you were making the decision to go there. What did you gain from that experience in your first year at IMG?
Technique, awareness, everything, playmaking skills. Like, we compete day in and day out with top talent. Like, you got Kamari, Dalen, Jahai. Like, you got incredible people over there that's making you work, and everything you earn, not give anything. You got to work for anything and everything. So yeah, that has helped me a lot.
Last week on the show, I had Jonel Aguero as our guest on Verminology, and he just left IMG to go back home to Massachusetts because he wanted to make sure he played his senior season in front of his family so his younger brother could watch him play and that kind of stuff. How much harder was going away to school for you than you imagined?
Oh, it was very hard. Like, when I got down there, I was fine with it, but as time went past, I noticed like I was away from home. It was tough not seeing my family every day, not having them at every game, and it was tough just like not living in the house in general. Like, you're just on your own.
Were you less ready for that than you thought, or were you? I mean, I know it's a big adjustment no matter what, but when we talked before, you seemed like you were kind of ready for that. Was it eye-opening when you had to make that move?
Yeah, it was eye-opening. I thought I was prepared at the moment because like the first like 2-3 weeks, everything was smooth transition down. But as like months passed, like I noticed like I was away from my family and I wasn't seeing them. So it definitely took a toll on me.
And admit it, you miss the cold weather, don't you?
Oh yeah.
So you go to Ohio State for the visit when they play Penn State on October 30th. After that, you take a couple weeks to chill. You then go to Ohio State again on the 21st against Michigan State. The next day, you travel to Notre Dame on your way home to Chicago. Just, why was it important for you to make sure you went back to Notre Dame the next day?
It's always good catching back up with them. Like, they're right next to the house. So like an hour and a half of drive wasn't too much for me. And I had I didn't have anything going on, so I'm like, why not just go up there and kick it with them again? And then I just brought some of my boys along with me.
As you do that, do you feel like the decision gets easier or harder, knowing that every single time you visit one of your schools, you go back and you visit another one, and so like it's almost like this constant push and pull. How does that help you get closer to a decision?
I'm like definitely taking notes from it. Like I see how one school treats me there compared to the other, and then how they take care of the people around me too. Also, so yeah, I think it's making like decision easier for me.
Well, I mean, obviously, the entire thing that in recruiting, there's a old adage that it's about comfort and relationships. Those are always the things that matter the most.
Mhm.
I'm not going to ask you to put one relationship ahead of the other, but what makes the relationship with Tommy Rees and Notre Dame unique, and what makes the relationship with Brian Hartline and Ohio State unique?
Me and Reese, he's been there since I was a freshman in high school. Like walking the halls when I was like small, skinny, didn't get the weight room. So yeah, he's been there since day one, and our relationship has been great now. And then with Coach Hartline, he's great. Like we talk almost like every day about anything, family, kids, how his kids doing, like what he has for the weekend. So yeah, our relationship is also great. We talk ball, anything, every day.
We're recording this show for people. This is the magic of the internet. It's going to run a week later, but we're recording this show on Brian Hartline's birthday.
Yes, sir.
So, did you text him a happy birthday today? And did he in any way indicate that the best birthday present you could give him would be for you just to commit?
Oh yeah, we talked about that a lot. I text him happy birthday, and then he always tells me that a great birthday present for him or his kids is me committing.
No, obviously he says that somewhat in jest. I mean, I don't think they're not a high pressure sales pitch over there at Ohio State. It's whenever you're ready, you're ready. Where do you go from here with your recruitment, Carnell? I mean, again, we're now 6 weeks away from the date that you thought you were going to commit. Do you start formulating a plan of like, okay, now I'm going to pick this day, or is it just whenever the mood hits? Because obviously, you put up a deadline against yourself, and all of a sudden, you may not be ready for it.
Yeah, I know. Like putting that up, like it's tough. Like trying to make a decision like quick as possible. But like from here, I think I'm just slow it down. Like because we got the business coming up where schools are off. So like I'll see how that goes, and then from there, I'll make a commitment from there. If everything goes.
One of the things I think is really interesting about, again, and I don't mean to exclude other schools, but the majority of your visits to this point have been Ohio State, Notre Dame, so that's where a lot of the attention is. It seems like when you visited those schools, you were there with the same kids visiting at both spots almost all the time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
There's Sonny Styles, there's Josh Padilla, there's Luke Montgomery. It's like the same kids are at both visits. When you visited Ohio State for the Penn State game, Josh wasn't committed. Sonny wasn't committed. They both committed 2 weeks within the next 2 weeks. And then you come visit for the Michigan State game and they're now committed. How did they treat you differently for the Michigan State game, and how did their messaging change?
The Michigan State game was definitely tough being with those kids, but it was all love. They just kept asking me, what am I waiting on? What am I waiting on? Just come be a Buckeye.
Does it change the relationship with them in some way? Like even with Drake Bowen at Notre Dame, like does it change the relationship when all of a sudden the conversation changes from, hey, what do you think about this place? Maybe we could be here together, to, okay, we're here now it's your turn.
No, the relationship doesn't change. At the end of the day, they want me to be there with them, but they also know that like it's my decision and they want what's best for me.
What is your favorite part of Thanksgiving dinner?
Oh, definitely the food. Gotta go. I'm a dessert guy. I like the banana pudding. So yeah, so you gotta go sweet potato pie.
My favorite is that like chocolate silk pie, like it's almost like pudding, but that's the move right there. And you get that little chocolate shaving on top.
Yeah.
So when do you get to Ohio State next? How does it happen? Is it a spur of the moment thing? Is it I want to visit for a bowl practice to see them live? I mean, how does it work?
At that moment, it's just like if we're free, we'll be able to go. So yeah, I'm not trying to like have anything planned. So like, I would love to go up there if I'm able to, but then I also don't have any plans for those.
I know the Penn State visit kind of happened last minute. The Michigan State visit happened because you were flying home from Florida to head to Chicago for the week for Thanksgiving. So it is funny. I mean, it's weird. You're a Midwest kid, but like everything you do has to rely on travel from far away, and that makes it difficult. Is there one thing that you, and this will be the last question, looking back over the last 6 months since your recruitment really blew up, is there one thing that you would do different now than say, back in March or April, like the things you thought, the way you thought this was going to go, that you would change?
I'll say definitely like ask more questions, and get to know that coach more, and then ask about their system.
I mean, it seems like such a simple thing, but a lot of kids, I think, in your position and in your situation, think that the questions are just going to get answered for you without asking. And life is not that way, right? You got to if you want to know something, you need to ask. So
also stability with the coaching staff, like for instance, Dan, you got like Florida's coach, not to throw him under the bus, but then you also with the coach leaving, you also can expect decommitments from that.
Yeah. Right. I mean, Florida on Sunday, you lose Dan Mullen, and then it's then that every other coach on that staff is likely going to be gone too. So even if you have a good relationship with the receivers coach there's all these moving parts, and ultimately I think that's why you end up having to decide on that relationship that means the most and the system that fits you the best. So lots of decisions ahead for you, sir. And I appreciate you taking time to join us. I hope you've had a good week at home so far. Enjoy your Thanksgiving.
Oh yeah, thank you. You too.
That's Carnell Tate. I'm Jeremy Birmingham. This has been Birminology on Lettermen Row. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. See you next time.